Be careful with the ones who seem sweet. 7 red flags of a covert narcissist that most men overlook. Do you ever catch yourself wondering why, no matter how gentle you are, how carefully you choose your words, or how much you give, she always ends up being the wounded one, and somehow you become the villain? Psychologists say this dynamic is a common psychological pattern in relationships with covert narcissists. The victim becomes the apologizer, and the manipulator becomes the innocent. It's a psychological trap where one person continuously absorbs blame while the other avoids accountability with shocking precision. She doesn't look like the narcissist society warns us about. She isn't loud, demanding attention, or openly egotistical. Instead, she's soft-spoken, fragile, almost delicate. According to clinical psychologists, this makes covert narcissists far more dangerous because their manipulation is subtle, emotionally camouflaged, and often rooted in vulnerability rather than aggression. While overt narcissists shout, covert narcissists whisper, and those whispers can destroy a person's reality. These individuals hide behind empathy, charm, and emotional fragility. They weave a persona so gentle that by the time you recognize the manipulation, you're already emotionally entangled. Psychologists call this masking, a defense strategy that conceals entitlement beneath humility. And today, we're uncovering 7 psychological signs that you may be in a relationship with an undiagnosed covert narcissist. Stay until the end, because I'll share the single most critical step psychologists recommend to begin breaking free and reclaiming your sense of self. Sign number 1. She is always the victim. In relationships with covert narcissists, one thing becomes painfully clear. No matter what happens, no matter who caused the damage, she positions herself as the injured one. Psychologists explain that this behavior stems from fragile self-esteem wrapped in defensiveness. Admitting fault threatens their identity, so they rewrite the narrative. Maybe you set a simple boundary, like asking for an hour to focus on work. In a healthy relationship, that would be respected. But with her, suddenly she's crying, accusing you of abandonment, cruelty, emotional neglect. Even when she lies, breaks promises, or crosses boundaries, she flips the emotional script so convincingly that you end up soothing her. Over time, you stop confronting her, not because you agree, but because peace becomes more valuable than truth. That's not love, it's emotional conditioning. And psychologists warn, once you begin prioritizing her emotional reaction over your reality, she gains full control. Sign number 2. Her love feels conditional, strategic, transactional. At first, her affection feels intense, magical, and deeply intimate. That's not coincidence. It's a technique known as mirroring. She reflects your values, your dreams, your emotional language, making you believe you've finally found someone who understands you. But as time goes on, the love that once felt unconditional begins to feel like a negotiation. Psychologists describe this as intermittent reinforcement, the same psychological pattern that creates trauma bonds. When you comply, she's affectionate. When you express your needs or boundaries, that warmth turns cold instantly. And no matter how much you give, it's never enough. The goalposts constantly move. You try harder, apologize more, abandon your needs just to get back the early version of her. The sweet, attentive, loving persona that now feels like a distant memory. That isn't love. That is control disguised as connection. Sign number 3. She twists reality slowly. Gaslighting isn't always explosive or obvious. Psychologists explain that covert narcissists rely on subtle distortion. They mix truth with lies so skillfully that you begin doubting your own memory, judgment, and emotional instincts. Maybe you forgot to reply once. Maybe you did raise your voice after being pushed beyond your limit. Because those small pieces are true, she uses them to justify larger, false accusations that you're unstable, selfish, or impossible to love. And slowly, your reality begins to bend around her narrative. You start replaying conversations in your head. You question your reactions, your tone, your validity. You doubt yourself more than you doubt her. And that is exactly how emotional control takes root. Not through force, but through confusion. Did I really say that? Maybe I did overreact. Maybe she's right. Those thoughts don't come suddenly. Psychologists call this cognitive erosion. It happens slowly, almost invisibly, like water carving stone. Each time she rewrites history or challenges your memory, you surrender just a little bit of your certainty. And over time, something tragic happens. You stop trusting yourself. Your reality becomes negotiable, and she becomes the one who gets to decide what is true. That is the psychological signature of gaslighting, not just confusion but dependency. Sign number 4. She hides behind the good person mask. When you're in a relationship with a female covert narcissist, the world sees a version of her that feels flawless, kind, supportive, nurturing, selfless. Psychologists describe this as image curation, a defensive strategy where the narcissist crafts an external identity that shields them from accountability and protects their fragile ego. But behind closed doors, that mask slips. The tenderness turns sharp. Her compliments turn into comparisons. Her concern becomes criticism. And if you ever try to expose the contradiction, you find yourself trapped in a psychological double bind, because to the outside world, she's a saint. Friends admire her. Family praises her. Even strangers may talk about how lucky you are. This social perception is not accidental. Psychologists call it a supply network. Protects her image and isolates you. You become the only one who sees the hidden version of her, which makes your pain easier to dismiss and her persona harder to question. Sign number 5. Passive-aggressive control. Female covert narcissists rarely scream, shout, or explode the way stereotypical narcissists do. Instead, they punish with subtlety. Silent treatments become walls you're forced to climb. Jokes become daggers coated in sugar. Sarcasm becomes their weapon of choice, because it allows them to harm you while maintaining moral high ground. Psychologists explain that passive aggression is a form of hostile protection. They don't want to appear abusive, but they still need dominance, superiority, and emotional power. So they withhold affection, validation, or communication until you break and apologize, even when you did nothing wrong. With every cold shoulder, every dismissive laugh, every "you're too sensitive," the message becomes clear. Your emotional safety depends on your compliance, and compliance is the currency of control. Sign number 6. Thinly veiled insecurity. In the beginning, her sensitivity feels tender, even humanizing. She cries easily. She questions herself often. She seems fragile. But according to psychologists, this isn't vulnerability. It's a form of emotional manipulation called weaponized insecurity. At first, you respond with compassion. You reassure her when she spirals. You soften your tone. You take responsibility for her emotional storms. But eventually, the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. Her pain always costs you something. Every meltdown teaches you a silent rule. Do not question her. Do not assert yourself. Do not need anything. Your emotional life begins shrinking around her fragility until one day you realize you no longer speak freely. You no longer think freely. You no longer exist freely. She doesn't need to cage you. Your guilt does it for her. And psychologists are clear. When someone's insecurity becomes a leash, it's not love. It's control. Sign number 7. You are losing yourself. This is the final and most devastating symptom. After months or years with a covert narcissist, your personality, confidence, and identity begin dissolving. You stop recognizing the man you once were, the man with boundaries, opinions, joy, and direction. You wake up every day feeling tense, alert, cautious, like you're walking through emotional landmines. You monitor her tone, her silence, her breathing, searching for signs of danger. You edit your words. You doubt your memories. You shrink yourself to survive her emotional weather. Psychologists call this self-abandonment, and it is one of the deepest wounds narcissistic abuse creates. Because the harm isn't just emotional, it's existential. You don't just lose trust in her. You lose trust in yourself. And here is the hardest truth, the one many struggle to hear. You cannot heal a covert narcissist. You cannot fix them. You cannot love them into empathy. But you can reclaim yourself. And the first step, according to trauma psychologists, is to begin trusting your own perceptions again. Write down conversations after they happen. Not to obsess, but to anchor yourself in facts. Seek support, someone trained and safe, whether it's a trauma-informed therapist, a support group, or a survivor community. And most importantly, begin reconnecting with the parts of you that were silenced. Your intuition, your boundaries, and your voice. Healing doesn't begin when they change. Healing begins the moment you decide you deserve to feel safe, seen, and whole again. If this message resonates with you, consider joining my private community, where survivors learn to rebuild themselves, understand the psychology of narcissistic abuse, and reclaim the power they were taught to surrender. You're not weak for falling into this dynamic. You're human, and now you rise.